Thanks for the opportunity in speaking on this. I was just looking at a few bits, Minister, early on, and I saw where you had to take down a tweet where you said there was 2,500 beds delivered in the health service, and then it was basically not correct. But I see a headline, I'm just reading it here, Budget 2024, 700 million for agri-environmental schemes. So I'm going to deal with agriculture, right? So it talks, first of all, that there will be 100 million supports for beef and sheep farmers. And it goes on to tell us about the €200 suckler cow, and I'm going to go through them bit by bit. The €200 suckler cow was announced this time last year. It started to apply last spring. We were at meetings all over the country. So the farmers around Ireland needs to know that the €200 on the SECAP is the scheme, SCEP, was announced last year. There is no new SICAP this year opening for next year. For any young farmer or anybody that wants to go into an environment or a scheme on the suckler cow, there is no new scheme. Get that clear, compared with some of the stuff that's being printed in the media. In relation to the ewes, the ewe was at €10, they are now at 20. I've done the tally, it's about 27 million extra. On the TAMS was announced earlier on this year. Nothing new in the TAMS other than the slurry storage scheme. Next thing they have up on it, 8 million in targeted support for tillage farmers. Unless my memory has gone wrong, I read that a week ago that was announced. So what are we telling us again today that it's in? Agri-taxation. We read during the week that 3/4 of farmers aren't making money. So taxation doesn't bother some of them poor devils. And I do welcome the piece where big business people can't be going in buying land that they have to hold it for 7 years, that you have to hold it for 7 years before you can get the lease, the tax relief. That's a tax relief, so that's not costing money. Expansion of acres. And let me go into this for the people that are listening about carbon tax for the last number of years. We had heard that the new acre scheme was going to be a brand new scheme. We were going to rise the carbon tax to make sure that those people were going to get good money, that we were going to get farmers brought into environmental schemes all over the country. Well, there was a scheme before this called GLAS. And in that GLAS scheme, when we had no carbon tax, when we had no great promises of what was going to happen, we had 47,000 farmers in it. Actually, there was a few more, but they were thrown out of it. Now, in this new scheme, last year we took out 40,000, and you would imagine if the government was intent on being so environmentally friendly as they're talking about, that whatever came in this year, they'd open it for the same. But I read that it's for 50,000 farmers, end of story. So all the money that is being collected through the carbon tax that was promised to this, and bear in mind that under the last scheme there was no carbon tax, is now not going there from what I can see. Soil scheme. Everyone last year got their soil tested. That scheme was announced this time last year. 57 million for organic. I do know that there is extra money this year for organic farmers, but for conventional farmers, get it clear, what I have said is accurate. 110 million provided for an ambitious forestry drive. Last week I was in the committee. I was in Brussels a month ago. They explained to us that the allocation was 304 million from 23 to 27, even though the government said 1.3 billion, but that 1.3 billion is for the ones that get it 15 years and the one that get it 20 years. But of course the spin doctors hammered it all together. No new announcement on that. 6.5 million dairy beef is on the go the last few years, just that every farmer knows that it's not new money. 5 million funding for genotyping programme. I've spoke to heaps of farmers earlier on this year that is it done because it was in the budget from last year. 8 million capital investment in the food sector was there, and the National Strategy for Horticulture, that money was laid out before this. So in actual fact, farmers have been betrayed. And if you look at what is being put aside for the likes of nature and that, I think it's 100 times more has been put aside for that compared to the 27 million, because that's basically what's in this budget, the 27 million for the sheep sector that needed it. Now, I think we need to be honest with farmers and tell them out straight that this budget gives a very clear reflection that you're not wanted by this government because the Greens are wagging your tail, and especially if you look at this budget in relation to the border, Midlands and Western region, as some of the deputies before me has talked about, they've done a report, they sent it up here to some of your own cronies that was involved in getting it put together, and explained the deficit that has been in that area for balanced regional development. Did it get anything in the budget? Absolutely not. What will pay the 27 million for the poor old sheep? Well, I'll tell you what will pay it. You're driving the carbon tax up tonight, and the fella that's making the pit of silage or feeding the cattle this winter with their tractor is screwed before ever any penny comes in for the O, because make sure that the O premium, or the reality of the O premium, is it's going to be next October, this October, 12 months, a year's time. So this is the spin doctrine that's going on. In actual fact, I'd say if we do the maths and the figures in the agricultural sector, we will be down money. And also, in relation to other initiatives, have a look for rural Ireland. What will, we get more transport, but have joined up thinking on how we work it. Where's the budgets for it? Where's the budget for the likes of road infrastructure? For the likes of from Galway to Donegal? For the likes of the M20? We need to get people for balanced regional development to give them the opportunity. I do welcome the childcare, but once again, I'm after finding out here from my deputies, or the deputies here with me, that it's another push down the road and wait for a while, sure mammy and daddy will be all right for another year and they'll survive. Well, they may not survive because an awful lot of the creches are under ferocious pressure. So what we're trying to do is give this impression, sure, look, we're going to mind you, we're going to look after you, we're going to give you a heap of money because there's a heap of money in the kitty, but in actual fact, damn all is going to come. And Minister, I think you should be honest and open and straightforward with people and not trying to doctor up monies that you didn't give to anybody.